In this episode, we take a deep dive into the essence of being. We explore the fundamental truth that everything we do stems from who we are being and how checking in with our being can enrich our experiences of the world. We discuss how approaching life with a sense of wonder and appreciation for our place in the world can transform the way we view ourselves and others. So please join us as we embark on a journey of self-discovery and unlock the keys of living a more fulfilling life.
Hello everyone. Well, it's nice to be back. I think it's been around 4 weeks since we've hosted one of these due to various reasons. I'm hoping that Jem does manage to get on. If not, I've got Internet Dollar as my spare co-host, so I'll get him on to say hi in a moment. It's been quite a long break for us, so yeah, it's a little bit nervous coming back, but very excited to be back. And really lots, as always, to talk about, what I see, what Jem sees, what we see as a community, what we see in the world. And, people go through so much. It's always nice to have a space where people can find a little bit of release. This is also a podcast. You can find that on all platforms. So if you are not subscribed, please go and subscribe. There's over 41 episodes talking about the understanding that we share. It's a very, very important conversation. In many ways, it's, to me, probably one of the most important conversations, to begin to understand that thought creates our experience is a game changer. And it really takes a lot of heat out of the world, out of our relationships, about all of the things that we put our needs onto, because suddenly we see that the needs are all us, that actually what's happening there is we are projecting that out. The enemy of our happiness is actually our wanting. We're always wanting. We're always desiring. We're always fighting against reality. So it really is this kind of holding reality up to the light of truth, holding our own thinking up to the light of truth to begin to see it differently, just to have a shift in consciousness, have a shift in what we notice in the world. Because if it's all us, then that's actually a lot easier to deal with. There's the opportunity for shift there. There's the opportunity for change. If it's everyone else, that's a huge battle. So again, that's why we look at this. Now, the subject tonight is being. Being is such an important thing to look at for me. And it's something that I've really explored more over the last year due to a man named Steve Hardison, who's an amazing teacher and coach. And he really talks about this beingness, that all our doing actually comes from being. What we're doing, great. Yeah, we're having a human experience. We want to do things. But who we're being is where that is coming from. Who are we being? So we're really going to dig into that. And I want you to just think for a moment about, who are you being? Like, where are you coming from? What's the feeling that you're living life from? And what's that being saying about you right now? Yeah, what's it saying about how you feel about yourself? Because that's really interesting too. It's like, so if all of our experiences and all of our doings come from being, we want to really dig into that and get that right. It's as far upstream as we can go is really important, because it's the seed of all experience and the seed of all human experience. But we will give some more examples and talk about that later. I'm going to say hi to Internet Dollar.
Hi, Miles. Hope you're well. Happy to be here to support you.
Thank you.
I was warned to be nice and on my best behavior on the previous space. I will take that advice with,
Amazing. Who gave you
and
that
I will
advice?
listen to them. The nice ID is showing up today, even though he's a Gemini. You're going to get only love and hugs from me.
Well, some of my favourite people are Geminis, so we're good with that. Absolutely good. But thank you. I really appreciate that you're here. And I'm pretty sure maybe it was Bubs that told you to be nice, but I'm not sure. We'll see. What I always say is, showing up to these spaces is, I don't want you to listen like you're used to listening. This isn't a research project. This is more of an exploration. So just want you to be here and really show up as if you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, even if you do. Leave all your knowledge at the door. Just see what you can hear new, because ultimately, the more we come from a space of wonder, we come from a space where we don't know anything, actually, the more beautiful life shows up. It's often that we're contaminating life with all of our previous thinking and our beliefs and our opinions, that when we look at life and we see it through those eyes, we tend to begin to project all of that onto the moment, and we kind of make it like muddy water. And I do that too. I'm not walking around in a sense of wonder all the time, but I do get to remember that, oh, I remember who I am. I can get to see things fresh for the first time. I don't need to see them through all the things that I've already thought before, all the bullshit that I've made up, all the beliefs that I've adhered to, all the things that people have told me that I've believed to be true that aren't. I can see it fresh. So what we're talking about exploring here is before thought. So again, all that thinking, just park it and listen to this as if you were listening to something new, as if you were listening to music, as if you were listening to the rain falling. And don't worry if you're not getting it. Don't worry about that. It's not about getting it, not getting it. It's just about listening and being open to the possibility to hearing something new about being human. That's it. So simple. And the potential of hearing something new can really create a lot of change in your life, because if life is the product of us, if life and experience is the product of our thinking, surely if we change how we see it, then life's going to show up in a new way, in a fresher way. So we're looking for that freshness here. And sometimes we can be resistant to it. Sometimes the ego can say, well, it can't be that simple. I need to change my whole world. I need to change this person. I need to have this in the bank. I need to do A, B, and C, and then everything will be fine. And actually, I'm pointing to something a little bit different. It's like everything's fine already, but you just haven't noticed. It's in that sense of wonder. It's before what you think. And I know we can go through challenging times. I'm not saying that it's always everything's wonderful and, life's always going to show up in an amazing way. No, we go through shit. But I know in the 10 years that I've been in this understanding, when I go through shit, how immensely helpful knowing the 3 principles, knowing what we teach is, and how helpful it can be. But I can see that Jem is here, so I would love her to come up and say hello.
Hello.
Ah, yes.
Oh, welcome home. Hi, everybody. Oh, I couldn't get on for 10 minutes, but here we are. I did catch the beginning. I managed to get it on my computer, but lovely to have you all here. And thank you, Internet Money, for jumping on. All the friendly faces. How was everyone today?
It's Internet Dollar, but you can call him Internet Money. I'm
Oh,
sure he doesn't.
Well,
shit.
with the markets going the way they are, it could be internet penny soon. So let's just be open on that.
Internet fund tokens. Yeah, thank you and welcome everybody. I guess we've already started.
That's okay. That's fine,
Yeah.
darling. How are you doing? Are you feeling a bit better?
Kind of. I've been ill for ages.
No.
Yeah, slowly getting better. Probably, I think I've had quite a few revelations over the Christmas holidays, like mentally, and I think that's sort of taken it out of me quite a lot. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Just not my normal happy fun self, just feeling a bit drained, but I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
good. I heard you talking about the Steve Hardison and I watched his YouTube last night and oh my God, he's incredible. I got energy just from watching him. He's so amazing. And you got me that book. I definitely recommend the book, The Ultimate Coach, to anybody. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's not about coaching. It's not even his story. It's his clients talking about the work that he does and the idea of being. And, he's quite a phenomenal human. There's a lot of them in the world, and it's wonderful when you come across them, that they're really sharing something incredibly powerful. And I actually met him last year. He's an American guy, but he was in London. And before I met him, I was kind of like, because he charges a lot of money. And I was kind of questioning, how can someone charge that? And you get all your own judgment come in. And then I met him and literally there was just something in just saying hello that was like, oh no, this man is something else. And I've had it with a few other people that really have that sense of awareness, that presence woken up in them. Another one is a friend of mine called Paul Morgan Summers, who I would say is, as close to an enlightened man as I've ever been. And you just sit with them and you just fall out of your conceptual mind. Thought falls away. You just sense the deeper self, that there's something more to who we are. And that's what we hope we do for you too. But, I really recommend checking out Steve Hardison and seeing his work, because he's kind of a force of nature. We're quite gentle. I would say Steve is much more forceful in his way of teaching, but there's still a real beauty about it. And, this idea of everything coming from being was really one that I began to see more deeply through him. It's like reality is as it is. So we don't want to make reality wrong. We don't want to go outwards. We want to come inwards. We want to see being, this possibility of beingness as everything. So, when I was listening to him yesterday, it was very much this, what do you think? Because that's what you're going to create. If you think money is hard to get, money's going to be hard to get. If you think you're no good, you're going to be no good. That's what he's going to, this beingness is like, go there, see who you really are, wake up your divinity, see that you are the essence of the universe and that you can bring anything in. And then you start to touch the true power of what it means to be human. And from there, if you challenge all of these old concepts and beliefs that you have around yourself and you see something more, you see it differently, that's the creative energy that we're talking about. And it's the same in the principles. We talk about the infinite potential. We talk about the creative potential that we are and that we don't notice because we get so limited by our ideas and our beliefs about ourselves. Everything that you think about yourself is a lie. Okay, and that's fine. We all do it, but it's not true. It's made up. When you were born, you were none of these things. You've acquired them. You've acquired them through your parents, your friends, society, culturally. We become this person, and that's fine. It's great to be a human and have our individuality and our diversity. But it's coming home to see the beingness and the oneness of who we are that actually changes and enriches that experience of being the human. Okay, so we don't want to run away from it. This isn't a turning away from being human. This is seeing that the deeper that we can go into it, the more we see being as the possibility, as the seed for all doing, then there's something there. Then there's something deeper about us that we can challenge the thinking that we have. We see that, the principles that I teach, this mind, consciousness, thought, they're the being. They're the energies behind life. They're unseen, they're invisible, but they create every experience that we've ever had. So whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing, that's you. That's you. You've had the power to create every experience you've had so far. You can have moments of like, holy shit, yeah, I've created all of this. You're creating the world that you're seeing. There's a lovely Thoreau quote, it's not what you're looking at, it's what you see. That's so true. Now we see the differences in that when we observe ourselves and we see how we feel differently about different things on different days. So if I'm creating this, if I can get deeper into my being, I can probably touch that essence of who I am and see, what do I really want to create? Not what thoughts telling me, not what someone else has told me I need to be or I need to create, but begin to see it differently. So we're not talking about something like The Secret or manifestation here, because that often can come from the ego. That can often be, I want the big house, I want the car, I want the physical things in life. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have those, they're great fun. But what we're saying here is that this is a stripping back of who we are not until we get to that being and that essence, and we can really touch and see the truth of what we want. And it's very often not a house or a car, although they can come with it, but it's an idea, it's an experience. It's how you want to show up in the world. Can you see the difference? Now, from that, everything will come from that. I see it in myself when I'm contracted and I'm feeling shitty about myself. I'm not creating the greatest things in my life. When I'm feeling good, when I'm seeing this and living this, I'm just connected with everything. Whatever I need shows up, like literally, but not from an ego that I need that thing to be okay, from a deeper space of beingness that everything just turns up because there's just no other choice. It's like an abundant mindset, but not because I'm not okay without it. I hope you're getting the difference here. It is quite a huge difference. And again, play in the material world. That's what we're here to do. But often we pin our security and our well-being on it, and we move out of understanding the role of thought in our experience, and we go into the world is creating our experience. The material needs to give me my experience. Now, understanding the role of thought isn't actually a cure for the world, but it does free us up. It frees us to see that actually the experience is secondary to me, to my thinking, to this energy, this powerful creative energy of thought that I am. And it's perfectly normal to see both. It's perfectly normal to experience the beingness and then to experience the humanness, the attachments, the wants and the needs. We're going to get it all. But we're moving away. What I truly love about this is we're moving away from the old psychological concepts that have really, in my belief, kept people limited, because we're seeing that psychology is thought. It's thought that often isn't true, that is coming and going. So do not get caught in the story. There's nothing in the story for you. The story is the doingness. It's what the mind is saying is often taking us away from beingness. So we just begin to see that, okay, there's something more to this being human. Yeah, and that's so juicy when we get to look at it, when we get to play with it, when we get to see it. Oh, I'm more than what I think I am. Absolutely. I think even as deeply as I can see this, which is just, a certain amount, I can see it to a certain depth. There's infinitely more for me to see, that even as little as I see it, it's so helpful. So it frees up our minds because we're not focusing so much on the content of thought to try and cure thought. So if you can see from what I'm saying, trying to cure thought with thought is unhelpful, because you're going to the same level of consciousness, you're going to the same thing, and beginning to see that the observation of thought, the beingness, the seeing that thought isn't true, is an amazing thing for mental health. Because suddenly you're free from thoughts that can be scary, can be upsetting, can be habitual. Now, I'm not taking thought away in this. The three principles, whatever anyone else is teaching in the realms of this understanding isn't taking thought and stopping thought, but it is deeply changing your relationship to your own thinking. Like, look at where you show up habitually. Look at your behaviors or your thinking or the way you do something you do over and over again. You go, the fuck did I do it like that again? And what's wrong with me? Why did I do that again? And the more upstream you can go to your being to see that, the more likely that is to fall away, rather than it being about the thing. Behavior is the end of the line. Once you're at behavior, trying to cure and control behavior, you're lost. It's upstream. Keep coming back, further and further, until you get to thought, until you get to your being, until you get to the source of who you really are. Because as we challenge thought, so if you can begin to see that habitual thinking, as you can begin to see a lot of that unhelpful thinking as ego. Yeah, and we've all got one. I don't think there's a cure for ego, but we can shift it. We can have a better experience of it. It can have less control over us. And I think as we see through an unhelpful belief, a bit of the ego burns away. And as that burns away, there's another layer of light revealed. It's almost as if we can touch the space of truth a little bit more. We can see who we are before thought a tiny bit more. That's who we are. It's all within you. Already there, inbuilt as standard. Nothing special. We've all got it, but incredibly beautiful and paradoxically incredibly special. It's just there, just below the thoughts that tell you that it's not. And thought is so compelling and compulsive and appears so real. To me too, a lot of the time. But now I know that there's another way for me to see it. I've got something very, very beautiful to read from one of my favourite teachers, Eckhart Tolle. And it is, when you contemplate the unfathomable depth of space, or listen to the silence in the early hours just before sunrise, something within you resonates with it as if in recognition. You then sense the vast depth of space as your own depth, and you know that precious stillness that has no form to be more deeply who you are than any of the things that make up the content of your life. The twofold reality of the universe, which consists of things and space, thingness and no thingness, is also your own. A sane, balanced and fruitful human life is a dance between the two dimensions that make up reality, form and space. Most people are so identified with dimension of form, with sense, perceptions, thoughts and emotions, that the vital hidden half is missing from their lives. Their identification with form keeps them trapped in ego. Just as space enables all things to exist, and just as without silence there would be no sound, you would not exist without the vital formless dimension that is the essence of who you are. We could say it's God if the word had not been so misused. I prefer to call it being. Being is prior to existence. Existence is form, content, what happens. Existence is the foreground of life. Being is the background. I just think he explains that so beautifully. So I'm going to see if any of my co-hosts have anything to add or to say. And then also, please, if you have any questions or anything to say, please raise your hand and come up.
Well, firstly, I'm glad that you said his name because I've been calling him Eckhart Tolle forever. That's how it's spelled.
Can I just, sorry, I've got to butt in because I've been calling him Eckhart Tolle forever too. And tonight I was like, I wonder if I got it right. And I actually Googled how to say it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we really swapped over there. That's amazing. And that was really, really, really beautiful. And all I kept hearing, and I've got no idea who said it, but someone said something like, you can't think your way out of a problem that you thought your way into. And that's all I kept hearing as you were going through that, because God, that's what we do when we tie ourselves up with issues and then we think, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of it? And actually, there's probably not really an issue anyway. It's, us creating it. And yeah, it's really quite mind-blowing when we can take ourselves into that space. I mean, I'm going from being in it, I call it Gem 2.0. I go from standard Gem, the one that didn't really know much, to Gem 2.0, which is with this new understanding. And I find I flip from one to the other quite a lot. But I never used to have the 2.0. So I was kind of stuck in the ego, stuck in the victim state, stuck in the, oh God, life's happening to me. And now that's slowly dissolving and going into the being. So one question that's really come up for me that might be helpful for other people as well is how can I be more and do less? How can I be in my being more?
It's so interesting that the separation that we are, the Jem, the Moles, the Harry, the Nagato, the Bubs, whoever it is, that separation is instantly going to want to try and work out how to do it, how to do being. But can you see the trap there? It's doing being is going in the wrong direction. It's actually going to get us more caught in our minds, in our concepts, in our doing, because we're turning being into a doing, and being comes before doing. Well, that can drive you a bit crazy, but it's just beginning to, I think for me, I can only give you how I do it is I just stay in the conversation. I've been ill too, and I always say to my clients, when you're ill, please do not listen to your thinking. It's like the worst time to listen to thought is when we're sick. And what did I do? I listened to my thinking when I was sick. I made up a whole story about someone. I got upset about something. And then I was like, what are you doing? You tell this to people day in, day out. Don't listen to thought. And once I caught myself doing it, I just threw myself into listening. I listened to one of our episodes. I listened to some Eckhart Tolle that I now know how to say. Obviously, Steve Hardison has then come in a bit later on. But I just threw myself into knowing that the answer wasn't in me trying to fix the world. The answer was in seeing more deeply who I am. And as I did that, suddenly everything that I thought about that person was like, oh, I made all that art. Oh, yeah, they do like me and we are okay. And it's just really fascinating how one little thing can send us off into a thought storm, a thought spiral, and how it's so often not true. And I'm sure everyone on the call can relate to that. When we think we've upset someone, when we think someone's upset with us, when we think, oh, did I do that right? Or they're going to be okay with that. We can project so much. It's like we can think someone's going to call us and they don't call. And we can make up a whole movie if we're in a low state of mind that they've not called for a reason that's to do with us. And they've not called because of them. There's something going on. So it's beginning to see that all we have to do is explore. You're not going to get there through an affirmation. You're not going to get there through an exercise. You're not going to get there through a doing. You are already it. So the less of it you bring to the table, the more you're going to see it. And it's so paradoxical. Totally get that it can make the mind go, But in a way, that's also a good thing because we want the mind to go, because the mind isn't where it's at. The mind is the computer system. The mind is always going to be creating content. What we're seeing is that what's creating the content? Let's play there. Let's see what's there. Because that's where everything that you think you're looking for in the world already is. And your triggers, and you're going out there and I need this amount of money, or I need this person to like me, or I need to have this relationship, or I need to be friends with this person. It's actually a really good guide when you catch yourself and you go, oh, no, I don't. Oh, that feeling I think I'm going to get from that experience out there already lives inside me. I've just covered it with thought that isn't true. So my inner exploration will allow me to see that and have a much better experience of life and not have that trigger. Now, we're full of them. There's triggers everywhere, but I do see that so many dissolve. We're never free of them as far as I can see, but they dissolve as we go along, as we begin to see who we really are. Because thought creates our happiness, thought creates our well-being, thought creates our sadness, thought creates everything. But the default, as far as I can see, when we fall out of thought, is one of peace. We could call it a happiness, but it's a peaceful feeling. It's a loving feeling. Another word for oneness to me is love. Where am I not being loving? Where am I not being generous? Where am I not being kind? I too can get caught up in not being the best version of myself, even though I teach this. I often fail at being the best version of myself, but it's not the best version of myself as in I've got to work on me. It's just the version of me that sees the truth more deeply and knows that the world is an illusion and isn't getting caught up by it, versus the one that's getting upset by the world, or the one that thinks The world has to provide me with something to be okay. This is what I tweeted yesterday. Trust is our natural state. Love is our natural state. Kindness is our natural state. I try to live in this knowing, failing often. But what I want you to see from that is that the failing often I don't beat myself up over. The failing often I don't give moles a hard time over. I just go, oh, well, I didn't see it. I'll just explore a bit more because maybe then I get to see it a bit more. So I don't do that reflecting back and thinking, oh, I should have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, I'm a bad person because I said that. It's like, no. I was just believing thought in the moment that wasn't helpful and definitely wasn't true. So it's getting kinder to ourselves, kinder to our humanity. And you know what's really beautiful about that? When I do that for myself, I do that for others. Even to people that are behaving really badly and I can still react to them. There's a part of me that sees that, wow, they are just so lost. Like, thank God I'm not that lost that I behave in that way. Thank God there's an understanding out there that one day they may find their way home too. So we get to be a bit kinder to ourselves and a bit kinder to others. And we all want the same thing. There's one thing we're all searching for, and it's love. Underneath whatever it is, it's that feeling of love and being loved. It will show itself in a million different ways, but that's fundamentally it. So when we see that, when we touch that and tune into that and know that we're already that, again, I don't have to search the world for it. It's already here. It's already within me. It's already who I am. And that's the beauty here. That's what we're waking up in ourselves more deeply, in others, hopefully, that listen, that we're seeing through the whole illusion and coming home that this beautiful, very temporary experience of being in this body is one that will come and go very quickly. And if I can explore where that came from and what that is, I'm going to enjoy that experience much more than if I just focus on the material. Well, what was it the other day? There was something, it was probably on Twitter, and I think there was a poll and someone put, what would you rather be, poor and happy or a billionaire and miserable for the rest of your life? And 50% of people put a billionaire and miserable. It actually shocked me. I was like, wow, that's quite intense. And I actually put, wow, poor and happy every time. And someone said, well, you obviously never experienced being rich. And I thought, no, but I've experienced being so unhappy that I wanted to die. So there's no way I'm going back there for any money in the world. It was that, oh, okay, that's how deep the illusion goes, that the material world contains so much for people that they would rather that and never be happy again. That's how lost humanity can be. It's even those people, they've only got to hear something and they'll change. I had a guru many years ago called Osho, and he was a really funny Indian guy, huge following, and I lived in his commune in India for a while. And he used to say, the best people I get are the rich people, not because they give me all their money, but because they already know it's not in money. They've been there, they've seen. That holds nothing. I thought it was there and I'm still miserable. Now, that doesn't mean to say, again, that we don't play in this world, get money and have fun. When you understand this and then add money, I'm sure it's bloody wonderful. But it's also bloody wonderful understanding this and not having money. I've been in some of the poorest countries in the world and seen people very, very happy that have nothing, and seen people with everything that are very unhappy in my work. So it's just shifting up our perceptions of what's true and what's not. And it's just bringing us home to a really beneficial, deeply profound, yet incredibly practical understanding of life. And to me, this is priceless. Gem and I do this. We want to share it with the world. We want everyone to get it. because we know that even though we can go through hard times and have down days and have various troubles in the world, not knowing this would make that much harder. So yeah, I'm so excited to be sharing again. I've been doing a private course, as I said, online, but we haven't done Unminding for a while. So I'm feeling really happy to be back here. So and I just, like you guys, thank you for showing up. I love you all so much. I'm just going to hand over to Gem or ID to see if they have anything to add or to say.
You read something from Robert Adams the other day, and it was amazing. And I've found some excerpts of some of the things that he said. So I just wanted to read something that follows on from what you said, and it's called Go Within. So if you really want freedom, liberation, you do not go searching for this. It is nowhere to be found, for it already exists within yourself. You are already that. So where can you go searching for it? Who can give it to you? If you want water, you turn on the tap. You do not look at the tap and scream and cry, I want water. You turn on the tap and you have water. Yet when you're a little kid, you do not know how to turn on the tap. Therefore, if you wanted a drink, you would cry and make a fuss, and your mum or dad would open the tap and give you a drink. So can you drink from the spring of eternal life, which is your reality? You have to turn on the tap. You have to turn yourself inside out. Can you imagine how you would look turned inside out? It wouldn't be a pretty sight, but that is the way. And I think that is absolutely true. And just coming back to and just having this space tonight with all of us, I really wish we could have jumped on last week, but we've obviously both been ill. But it's really nice to have everyone back. And just getting together and being, it's a real great reminder. So thank you to all of you for being here. And we did have a request, but they've disappeared. So if anyone does want to come up and ask questions, you're more than welcome. And it'd be nice to hear what you've got to say as well, Internet Dollar. Thank you.
Put him on the spot.
I was just appreciating everything you guys were saying. It's like, it goes without saying, I think a lot of people take what you guys were talking about for granted. And sometimes it's important to just breathe and think about these sort of issues, because life moves very fast and people don't spend enough time thinking about what makes them happy or how they can make themselves happy and be comfortable in their own skin. And it's important to self-reflect. You were talking about Osho, and I was saying, I recently found this guru online. It's funny to say I found this guru online, but there's a guy, his name is Shunyamurthy, and he moved to Costa Rica. And I've just been listening to his YouTube videos for the past year and a half. They're like 15 minutes, 17 minutes. And just to hear his voice is very soothing. And to listen to his tidbits of knowledge is very soothing. So we're not giving recommendations here, but I think that's something that could be very helpful for someone's mindset.
Yeah, I love that. And again, everyone will find what they need to hear. So I love that you said that. And I love still listening to Osho, even though he's not principles based. All these beautiful teachers point to truth. I love listening to Eckhart. There's another beautiful teacher, Claire Diamond, that I love listening to her podcasts. And there's so much out there, and you're so right that people don't take the time to actually look in this direction. They're so focused outwards. And we get a healthy number on these spaces, and definitely with the podcast, we get a lot more. But if we did a spaces on how to make $1 million overnight, we'd be full up. It'd be like thousands, because people are just looking in that direction all the time. And it is about just stopping and going inwards and seeing this truth. And again, we're not against materialism. We live in a material world. Go play. But when there's not so much attachment on it, it becomes much more fun. So we take the seriousness out of trying to get what we want to get, because instead of it containing our well-being, instead of the material thing containing our happiness, our well-being, our peace of mind, our security, the thing just begins to be a thing that would be fun to have. And then we go play with it. So there's such a shift of how we feel when we do that.
Yeah. Also, if you think about the happiest times in your life, I guarantee 9 out of 10 times does not involve anything having to do with money or material things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was chatting to a really, really wealthy person. It was before Christmas. And I said, when were you happiest? And he went, when I lived in a council house on an estate when I was a kid. And it was like, wow, a council house in the UK, it's like when you've got no money, they give you a council house and that's where you live. And he had all the riches in the world. He can do anything that he wants. And that was his happiest time. And that was like, wow, okay. And that's when you get to see that. That's when, again, it's the calling to the exploration that we're showing you here. Because when you get to that point and you see it's not in all the things in the world, then it's like, there's something more I need to do. And that's often when people go on the exploration. Now, it can be through also mental health issues. It can be through a trauma in your life. There's different ways that people come to the understanding. But just get here. Even if there's nothing wrong and you hear something in this, explore, because it really will begin to open your life up to so much more. You'll begin to see and get so much more out of the simple things rather than the complexities that we often apply to our wants and desires. So, yeah, it should be fun. Again, it's like a lot of the spiritual teachings that I've followed, because I've spent a lifetime looking in this direction with different things, often got quite serious. And what I love about the principles is they don't. We take the seriousness out of it. It becomes light. It becomes fun. We're not here for that long. Why do we need to be so serious? Why do we need to be so caught up? What's really on it for us? And it can be a really fun illusion. And also, like, while it's fun, while we haven't got a lot of problems, let's enjoy it, because life can contract and can give us some really hard times and can get really serious. So why do we want to make it serious with our own thinking when we don't need to? Again, back to this, come back to your being, come back to seeing, where am I coming from? Am I seeing myself as rich, as poor, as wonderful, as terrible, as a good person, as a bad person? When you go deeper and deeper, what's your narrator saying? Because it's not true. Because at the core, at the beingness, is perfection, is love. So I would say to get as deep into the being as possible would be to be loved, to be loving. Am I showing up with love? Am I showing up seeing that that person is the best possible version of that person that they can be? That this life that I'm having at the moment is the best possible version of life as it could possibly be? Am I seeing it through the eyes of love? Am I seeing it through the narrow contraction and seeing it through like a darkness, like a muddiness? As I said earlier, we are literally creating the world that we're seeing. So the way that I change isn't out there, as Jem's pointed out in that beautiful quote that she said, it's within. But sometimes we're really impatient as well, and we think we're not getting them quick enough. So look at that too. I heard a quote the other day, and I love it, and it's, the last thing to form on a tree is the fruit. We want the fruit first. We have to have patience. We have to allow life to unfold, and we don't. It's like, so what are we doing? Are we having these expectations that are also almost impossible to meet, that we've made up, that we're then giving ourselves a hard time over? Or are we seeing out through these eyes of everything is exactly as it's meant to be? There's this perfection in this moment right now. But for my thinking, I could see that, and that the fruits of my being will appear in exactly the right moment. That's really where, if we live from there, we're going to get the most out of life. Jem.
Yeah, it really takes the pressure off, doesn't it? It really does. Yeah, there's nothing to do. I need this reminder every week. Let's do this every week.
I'm busy next week. Sorry, darling.
Oh, no. All right. Internet dollar, internet money. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just feeling really chilled and really blissful. And yeah, I guess another question would be, how can I be more? Obviously, brainwashing myself with unminding, listening to all the different teachers. But how can I be more in the moment?
You couldn't, how do I say this? It's not possible for you to be more or less. What you are right now, if you could see it clearly, is more than enough. It's an abundance. It's just that thought is clouding that. And it has done for me too lately, but I'm just having these moments of seeing it again. Oh, of course. How could I not be? And it's just, you can't be more of what you already are, which is whole. You can't make a whole any more whole. It's complete. So it's in seeing that and waking up to that that is the answer. It's not in trying to get anything. It's the ego and the mind thinking that there's a better place to be or there's a better gem to be. It's all underneath the thought. You just got to crack out of that shell and see it.
So the more we think we have to do, the more we think we have to be, the more we think we are not doing it correctly, the further we're pulling ourselves away from it.
Yes.
Thought so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And, we're not going to be consistently happy. That's not the human experience. Again, that's a lie. Anyone that says, oh, yeah, come work with me, you'll be happy all the time. No, you'll be happy a lot more, but you'll also have your challenging times, your sad times, whatever your flavor of emotion is that you kind of go down the rabbit hole with. Yeah, that's going to come along. But you'll have a different relationship with it. You won't try to fix it. And you'll know that as soon as thought changes, you'll have a new experience and your feelings will change.
Yeah, not seeing things that they have to be a certain way. They just are.
Yeah.
And not trying to chase that feeling, just being.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you read what Mr. O wrote in his latest Medium, which I found fascinating about that game he's produced, was that he said it really well, which was that happiness isn't enough. I think he said about that there's an element of the human that wants chaos. And of course we do, because we're dual, we're duality. We have creation and destruction. That's who we are. Now, before that, when we're pointed to being, no, that isn't that. That's just beingness. There's no creation and destruction there. From that comes the creation and destruction. But we didn't come to have the human experience and get the ticket for, I'm only going to experience the happiness. I'm only going to experience the good side. We came and we got the ticket to the full human experience. So we will get it all. We will see it all. But I think, as well as what you pointed out in what you read out, Jem, and what Eckhart said and what I've been saying on this call, is that it's okay. We get to have both now because we have a deeper understanding of this essence of who we are, rather than just this one material experience. We also have this deeper spiritual experience. Now, from there, we observe the creation and destruction of our human experience. And we go, of course, I'm going to show up like that, because ultimately that's what the experience is on the table. That's the duality of man. But coming home and seeing that it's all okay can be a great relief. I think I actually replied to Mr. O on it because I thought it was brilliant. The child gets as much pleasure from knocking the sandcastle down as it does from building it. That's what we're talking about. But when we can play, the child knows that that's playful. We get really caught up. We get really lost because we just want the good stuff. But again, it's grateful in my highs, graceful in my lows. That's life. Life is on the table. We're all here to experience it. I can either resist it or I can show up and live it. In resistance, I'm going to make my life smaller and smaller, and I'm going to have more and more problems. In acceptance, I'm going to be open to life, and I'm going to have a much better time. I'm still going to go through shit, but I'm going to get through it a lot easier than I would have if I didn't understand who I am and I didn't understand the nature of the ego and resistance and how we can show up differently in the world.
Yeah, and it's like you just saying the good stuff. Who decides it's good stuff or bad stuff? It's always us. It's our perception. Everything that's coming towards us is neutral until we give it the label of, oh, this is good for me. Oh, this is bad for me. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, I do want that. Whereas seeing it through neutral eyes and not giving it those labels is going to make life a lot easier too.
Great point. Bloody brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. We're creating that. It's our belief system at play again, every time. Our thoughts at play every time. And you can see how it can be fun to begin to explore it.
Well, it is when you explore it rather than being in the mind of, oh no, what's going on? How do I get out of this? What's happening? Oh no. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh.
But don't you
Wow.
think, as you see it, it's like what's happening now for you as you're coming out of where you've been, which hasn't been in a great place, has been that your experience is being reordered. It's like, oh, but it's not actually changed. It's being reordered from within. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Nothing has changed apart from my vision of it.
Yes.
Yeah, which was always there to be changed. I just decided not to look in that direction for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but I'm choosing to now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Perfect.
Oh, you're perfect. Thank you.
I only do these spaces so Jem can call me perfect at the end, by the way.
Well, she said she'd never have me as a client, so once a week we do a podcast.
Oh, no, it's lovely to be back. I love you, darling, very much.
It really is. And is anyone in the audience, does anyone have any questions before we start to finish up? We are free to take any questions, or you can always message me, but that hour has flown past.
It really has. It really has. Now I think we've kind of got them all into a nice comatose state, which is wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, please, guys, as you know, what we're pointing to is very important for humanity. It really is a signpost home that can really help everybody. So please share this. Please share the podcast. Please sign up to the podcast. Please share it with your friends, because if everyone could see this, the world would be a better place. And ultimately, I think that's what we all want. So, you know, it's wonderful to be back again. But, you know, the mission is still on, which is to really create a mentally healthy and much more awakened world. And you're part of that. And it's like, take that from us and please run with it if you can. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and as you go off after the call, if any questions come up or any subjects or topics that you'd like us to cover, just message me or Moles, and we would love to talk about them next week. We made this because, well, initially it was in lockdown when people were struggling with mental health. And yeah, we know that this makes such a huge difference. So even if the questions aren't for you, if they're for family members or friends, anything that you think will help, please let us know, and we would love to talk about them. But yeah, just thank you, everyone. Oh, we have a request.
Oh, okay.
We have Hexoshi. So I'm going to...
Late night caller.
Late night caller, first time caller as well. So nice to have you up here.
Hi, Hecto.
Hello, do you hear me?
Oh, we do. Hello, how are
Hi.
you?
I am doing wonderful. I just wanted to get on and say the part about acceptance really hit home for me. I don't know if you've read A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
beautiful.
Yes. Yes. So I just finished that one, and I just wanted to recommend it to anybody who is dealing with that, the level of acceptance and just going through life, learning how to awaken and see the ego for what it is and be able to work through that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard, but we spoke about Eckhart earlier. I quoted and read something from his book, which is Oneness with All Life, which is actually inspirational selections from A New Earth. So we actually were reading it out on the call. So if you didn't get to listen to the whole thing, please listen to the recording, because I think you'll really enjoy it. But I'm a big fan of Eckhart, wonderful stuff. And there's so many great teachers out there. So thank you for coming up and sharing that. And I'm really glad that it resonated with you.
Of course, Malls. Thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
Oh, so yeah, thank you, Hexoshi. And yeah, hopefully you can go back and hear the beginning of the call. But yeah, unless anyone else has got any questions, then thank you all for being here. And we look forward to having you next week. Thank you to our sponsors, who are Vemp. You can visit them at vemp.xyz. And yeah, just really grateful to have you all here, and looking forward to everyone being together next week.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm going to leave with a quote, which is from a man named Jeff Foster, who's another wonderful teacher. And it's, your thoughts aren't you, but they try hard pretending to be. They are imposters, impersonators. Don't let them fool you. You are vast. They are limited. You are not. They come and go. You do not. Without a thought, you still exist, like the sky, with or without clouds. Thoughts depend on you. You don't depend on thoughts. Your thoughts are not you. So thank you, everybody, again. We really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Internet Dollar, for co-hosting. Appreciate it so much. Gems, it's wonderful to be back. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Big love.